Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
From the intersection of Highway 63 and Interstate 70, the heartland of Middle America, just a few miles south of the campus of the University of Missouri, this is what we're talking about, podcasting exclusively from livingonsports.com. Welcome into the program. I am Michael Spencer, joined as always by my good friend Cheston McGuire. Cheston, what up, buddy?
I'm ready to do today's show. We got some good topics going on now.
We got some really good topics. It's a great day in sports. The opening of the World Series tonight. NBA tipped off last night. We're sort of right in the middle of the college football and professional football season. Lots of good stuff, and we're going to get started with today's biggest topic. It has to be the World Series.
Oh, easily. I mean, we got the Phillies and the Yankees starting off tonight. I almost said the Eagles. I don't know why, but we got Phillies, Yankees tonight. CC versus Cliff Lee, the past two AL Cy Young Award winners on different teams now going against each other.
That's right. You know, I think tonight is going to be very telling for the rest of the series. Looking at a statistic today, 11 of the last 12 World Series winners have won Game 1.
Wow.
The only team that wasn't was the Angels when they won in 0-2. So tonight is going to tell you a lot about what's going to happen. And I think what it's going to come down to, and this may sound like a duh statement, but it's going to come down to pitching versus hitting and who has the better lineups and whose pitchers pitch better. Because you look at the guys tonight, they're unbelievable. 5-0 and a combined .94 ERA going into tonight's game.
Both Cliff Lee and CC Sabathia have been amazing all playoffs. Really, the Yankees and the Phillies in general have been. And there's no denying that both of them have excellent starting lineups and a starting rotation between the two of them. But like you said, it's going to come down to depth, and I think depth in hitting and depth in the bullpen. And that's where I think the Yankees have the edge in this series.
I think so, too, and I think the home field advantage will help them win definitely tonight in Game 1. I'm not so sold on Game 2, Pedro versus most likely Andy Pettitte.
I think what's going to help them there is, I believe it's a Burnett going tomorrow.
Is it going to be Burnett in Game 2?
It seems like just yesterday I wrote this online. It's going to be a little word for word, but it's in my head because Pedro in 2004 said the Yankees are his daddy, and he can't beat them. In 2004, he did it, but he's not the same pitcher now he was in 2004. I think that Game 2, A.J. Burnett's been pretty good in the playoffs too, and I just think the Yankees are too hot, too good, especially at home, and they'll take the first two at home at least.
Well, and Pedro came out today and said that he was the most influential player to ever play at Yankee Stadium.
That's quite the statements galore from the Phillies. Jimmy Rollins going on Leno and saying we're going to win the series 4-1.
And everybody's making a big deal out of that. I don't have a problem with that. What would you expect him to say? Oh, no, we're going to lose.
I just think it's funny, 4-1. Which game do you plan on losing? That's the only thing. No, I want you to say, I don't want a player to go on there and say, well, it's going to be a good series. If a player's going to talk, you say you're going to win. Plax, a lot of times I back it up. Plax backed it up. Joe Namath, of course, the most famous one.
She did it a few times.
Yeah, I mean, I like when players do that. I just think it's funny that he said they would lose one game, but I don't think it's gonna give the Yankees fodder or be billboard material.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Derek Jeter has to believe if somebody asks him, you've got to think that he's gonna say, well, yeah, we're going to win. And, maybe he says we're going to win in 7 or win in 6. It doesn't matter. The players think they're going to win. Duh, I would hope so.
If not, they should not be playing, especially not in the World Series.
Exactly right. Well, I mentioned Rasheed Wallace, which segues nicely into our next transition, how good North Carolina basketball. No, sorry, that's not what's on the script.
We'll talk about that one another day.
It would probably take days to cover that topic. But NBA basketball season opened last night. 4 games were on the slate last night. A whole slew of games on the slate tonight, including my Spurs and their new look with Richard Jefferson and, knock on wood, some healthy players. But let's talk about last night, the Cavs-Celtics game, which you and I both watched. What did you think? What did you take out of that?
Nothing really new came to me. The Celtics are the better team. I always thought they were the better team, and I came away with Rasheed is not a big improvement to the Celtics, and Shaq's not a big improvement to the Cavs. That's all I came away with that. I don't think really any of those big name additions in the offseason have been that good, except for Richard Jefferson, but I don't think Rasheed's going to add much. If anything, he's going to hurt them.
I don't see Sheed hurting them. I mean, he didn't play poorly last night. I think Sheed's going to be good for them.
Maybe, but when I say hurt, I mean they were up like 9, and the Cavs went on a run and cut it to 2. And what does Rasheed do with numbers down court? Jacks up a 3 and airballs.
Well, Sheed
get 5 fouls. The
entire Celtics team played awful. How they still won that game, I don't know. You look at
Rajon Rondo.
Oh, jeez. Allen went 5 for 6 with 16 points. Pierce went 6 for 3 with 16. Shaq had 10 and 10. But then you look at LeBron, 12 and 22 with 38. What it came down to is what it came down to all last season. The Cavs are playing 1-on-5 offensively, and they're not going to get anything done that way.
No, and every year they talk about these new pieces they're bringing in and how they're supposed to be better. But if you look at it, they're 3-4 years removed from being in the NBA Finals, and all they do is keep adding. And I'm not saying they're getting worse. They're getting more wins in the regular season, but they're not translating to success in the playoffs.
No, and I think this is really going to hurt LeBron when he gets older. Because you look at him now and he's still young and he can still afford to carry the team, but this is really going to take a toll on his body.
Getting fouled left. He's having to throw his body into the lane every time.
It's going to take a toll on his body when he gets older. The Cavs now, by the way, on pace for an 0-82 season.
Wizards, on the other hand, 82-0.
82-0 for the Wiz. The Wiz, yeah, they got a win last night. Congratulations.
On the road in Dallas. Just saying.
One of maybe the 30 they'll get this year. But the real story last night was the Lakers playing without Pau Gasol. Granted, they were playing the Clippers, and we all know the Clippers are terrible, but the Lakers looked pretty darn good last night. And the thing was, nobody noticed that Pau Gasol wasn't on the floor.
No, I didn't know until the fourth quarter. And finally, I just kind of looked, and he's sitting there in a suit on the bench. I was like, oh, he's not playing. Because they were playing that well, at one point in the fourth quarter, at the beginning of the fourth, the Clippers went on a run and cut it to 1. And at that point, the Lakers responded for something like a 20-6 run, and it was never close again.
Yeah, I think I think it was huge that they played that well. And like I said, granted, it was the Clippers, and the Clippers played pretty darn awful.
Well, awful, but they were in the game for the most part the whole time without arguably their most important player, Blake Griffin, who's out for 4 to 6 weeks now. And which impressed me because all preseason, that's been like the guy they've been practicing with and being ready for and the marquee player. And they just didn't have that. All right, so watching the ring ceremony last night, and who do I see strut out to David Stern to pick up his ring? Adam Morrison.
I know you have
Morrison's mustache.
I know you have a huge issue with this. Go ahead and vent. We've got a little time.
It's not a huge issue. I just hate seeing these guys like Adam Morrison. Well, for the Lakers, I'm going to also say Stanislav Medvedenko, Mark Madsen. I mean, these guys that do not play, do not earn the ring, and they go out there. He did as much as Jack Nicholson did for that team.
Mad Dog did play. Actually, Adam Morrison got in 8 games last year. The thing was,
I could add as much from the bench as he does.
Now you look at it, and Adam Morrison can say, "Hey, Charles Barkley.
That's
hey, Patrick Ewing.
Karl Malone, John Stockton." Yep. That's what bothers me when I see these fantastic
He's going to bust
players.
out a rap. Tell me how my ring tastes,
Oh, I'm sure he can do it. He is just so talented. I mean, what can't that guy do besides grow a mustache?
Here's the thing. I don't have a big issue with this because he was at practice every day. He was at the games every day. He was helping to make his teammates better.
No, I don't dislike him for it. It really bothers me when I see players like that. I mean, yes, it's a situation they're in, but when you see a guy like Malone and Stockton and that whole Utah Jazz team, Charles Barkley, they don't have rings. And it's such a shame. And you get a guy like that, or Darko Milicic, who has a ring. And it's like, really, these are what these guys sell their whole careers out for. They give up money, family, time, and they don't get it. More props to Adam Morrison for getting it, but it makes me think too much of the players that don't have it.
Now, you had a solution for this, though.
I think every team should be allowed to bring one player on who never played high school or college basketball, so I myself could sit on a bench of a team and get a ring. I think that would be a fantastic solution for all of us.
I'm not even going to respond with that. We've got just a little bit of time left in this segment. You mentioned Ron Artest and Rasheed Wallace not necessarily helping their new teams. Shaq, not so much. The other big names, Richard Jefferson to the Spurs and Vince Carter to the Magic. How do you think they will fare?
I think Vince Carter's going to hurt the Magic because what they gave up for him essentially is this Hito Turkoglu, and Hito was such a key part of that team. He essentially ran the point in the entire playoffs. Everything ran through him. He distributed the ball. He rebounded. He shot. And Vince Carter only seems in his career to worry about his shot. And I think that's going to kill the chemistry there. And I think it's really going to hurt him.
I think, and I know that I'm a big Vince Carter fan, but I think it's because Vince has always had to be the star. And now he's on the Magic. He's got Dwight Howard. He's got Rashard Lewis. He's got Jameer Nelson. He doesn't have to be the key guy. He doesn't have to be the number one option on that team, and I think that's going to help him.
We'll see. If he does, then the Magic will be good, but I just don't think he can relegate him there. But, we'll see this season.
Richard Jefferson, quickly.
Richard Jefferson translates Spurs championship this year.
Really?
I called that earlier on, so I'm sticking with
Really?
Spurs over Celtics.
I think it'll be. I think he will help a lot. I think he will help, especially he'll give some rest to Manu Ginobili, which the Spurs definitely need. That's all we got coming up. Quickly, we will do some NCAA football. That's next. Don't go anywhere. It's what we're talking about on LivingOnSports.com.